Hi and welcome. So for this week's video, I'm going to be doing my third episode of Create This Book by Mariah Elizabeth. If you haven't seen the other two yet, feel free to go check them out. Also, this week's prompts took longer than I had anticipated, so since the video is much longer than normal, I just did 2 prompts this time, but I really hope you enjoy them, so let's check them out.
Okay, so our first page we're going to do is create a secret, and it says, write a secret here, cover it up somehow. So I thought it would be fun to create one of those top secret envelope folders. And to do that, I'm actually going to use my watercolor paper to create that envelope. And then in the inside, I will do, have you guys ever seen where you take a blue marker or pen and then you write your secret? And then you take a red marker or pen and scribble over it. And then you create like a little magnifying glass and cover like a piece of plastic with red. So then that way the red on the magnifying glass cancels out the red of the pen, which then exposes the blue secret. So that's what I'm going to try to do. So let's do that. Okay, I think that'll be fine because I don't need it to be super big, but once it dries, I'll end up cutting out the square and then I'll write my secret message in there. So while that is drying, I'm going to now work on the magnifying glass. Just gonna get the ideal shape. All right, I think that's good enough. And I'm just going to use my black alcohol marker to color it in. Again, it doesn't need to be perfect since I'm cutting it. Okay, now let's get it cut out. And I'm just going to touch up the white spots a little bit. Okay. And I think I'm also going to use my gel pen just to create a little bit of highlights on it. And I'm going to set that aside so we can start working on the plastic red piece. All right, and then I'm going to cut it out and glue it in. And there it is. I just need to make like a little pocket or some sort to put that here because the envelope will go over here, but it is still drying, so I'm going to have to wait on that. Again, I'm just going to use some leftover paper and just cut out a little strip to glue into the book so it holds the magnifying glass in place. You know, kind of something like that. I'm just going to bend these pieces. And then that will slide in there. I'm going to give it just a second to dry so that way I don't accidentally ruin it. And I should have painted that black too. We'll try. Hopefully I don't accidentally mark the paper. Okay, and then I also thought it would be fun to like make some thumbprints on the page. And I haven't tried this yet, so I should probably practice to see if I will even be able to create a thumbprint or not. Actually, it'll probably be better to use pen. And yeah, I'm just going to color all over my thumb. And I don't have an ink pad, unfortunately, so just hoping this works. Hopefully I'm not just coloring my thumb for nothing. Let's see how that looks. Okay, maybe a different one. And this is why we practice. I mean, it is what it is. They're not meant to be perfect, right? I'm gonna do it. Maybe do a fingerprint. Oh gosh, that one was horrible. Okay, and now I'm going to clean up my fingers a little bit, but you know, you won't see that part. Okay, that actually came off my fingers really well. I was worried it wasn't going to, so thankfully it did. So I think the next thing I'm gonna do is create like those yellow caution taped around it. I know it's not a crime scene or anything, but I just think it'll be fun and give it an extra pop of color. So let's do that. Just lay this piece of paper underneath so it doesn't bleed through. Anyways, yeah, I'm just going to use my yellow alcohol marker and make a bunch of different strips. And I'm going to make them all fairly long right now. And depending on where I put them on the page, I can cut them thinner or whatnot. Or shorter, I should say. Cut them shorter. Okay. Okay, and then I'm just going to write caution all along these a million times. I think I'm just going to finish this strip and then start cutting out and gluing it to the book to see how that looks before I do this one as well. Whew, okay, let's stop right there and get these all cut out. Okay, get all this out of the way. Get my glue stick. Put one through here. And it'll get covered, which is fine. Yeah. Let's do it here first. Got my piece of paper again. Okay. Move this over here. You can just create like a little sign here, just explaining to use the magnifying glass to reveal the secret, I guess. Okay, so while that's drying, I'm going to work on this now that this is finally dried. I'm going to cut this corner off and then cut to this corner off as well. All right, and now that that's all cut out, I'm just going to add the final details to this file. And I just went on Pinterest and looked up a couple of different photo references to give me a better idea of how I wanted to make it. So yeah. All right, and here is the finished page. And now I will show you how the magnifying glass works. It says that the big secret is that, and that's all you get to see because it wouldn't be a secret if I showed you. Anyways, on to our next prompt, and it is create a page for a pet. It says dedicate this page to a pet. If you don't have a pet, use a friend's pet or one from TV. So I already had an idea for this page, but of course, after I came across Rose's video where she was doing different coloring techniques, and one of the techniques she did was of a embroidered look, and I just thought if I took her idea and mixed it with the one I already had, that it would be super cute. And of course, I was going to draw my pet corgi, and since I was doing the embroidered technique, I thought it would be best if I made him more of a cartoon version. So now I'm just going to try my best to take Rose's techniques and techniques from a different artist that I've seen and try to mix those together and hopefully create the embroidered look that I'm looking for, because I think it would be super adorable if I can make this work. So yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So I'm just going to start off with taking my roller and creating the lines that I need. And Rose did about like 1/2 inch sections. So I'm going to kind of roughly stick to about what she was doing. And I'm going to draw the lines past my drawing just in case if, you know, it helps me just to be able to see my lines better, especially if I end up accidentally covering my lines with my markers. I don't want to lose those. Okay, so I think I'm going to start with the hat first. And I'm going to do that blue. Okay, so Rose said to do this, you need 3 shades of the color that you want to use. So you need a light, a middle, and a dark color. And first you're going to take your lightest color and color the entire section that you want covered. And then you're just going to let that dry for a second. And I actually want this paint splatter to be blue too. Okay, and then she says to go in with your middle tone, and you're going to do swipes up on the lines that you created. But naturally, I feel like my wrist feels more comfortable doing swipes down rather than up, so I'm actually just going to turn him upside down. Okay, and then I'm going to let that dry. And then once it dries, I'm going to take my darkest color and then I'll go halfway up on the lighter tone. I feel like the thing with alcohol markers is kind of spreads weird in ways I wouldn't want it to, but oh well. Man, I'm already really second guessing this. So I think I'm going to do what she recommends and take a dark blue colored pencil to kind of add some more details. Oh, I almost forgot. She actually uses a white colored pencil to go the opposite way first. Okay, and then she goes back in with the darker colored pencil. If I remember correctly, honestly, my internet's not working, so I can't even recheck her video if I wanted to. But hopefully this ends up turning out the way I'm expecting it and hoping it will. Actually, if I remember, I think she pulled the darker color through a little bit. I don't know, I really don't remember. Okay. And then she did say that she took a white, I think it was more of a paint marker to leave highlights. I do feel like it leaves like really thick marks though, and I don't know if I like that very much. Yeah, I don't think I should use this. I don't like how bright mine is. I'm just gonna kind of lighten them up a little bit with my pencil, or darken I should say. A little better. No, I think that's good. Okay. And then she says that she goes in with a fine liner to create the embroidered outline. So I'm going to do that really quick. Okay, and then she said to add a little bit of squigglies, make it look like some loose string. And then another girl that I was watching on TikTok, she kind of added like little black dots along the lines. I just realized that I never hit the record button to do all this, so I apologize for that. I didn't finish doing the side legs, so I'm going to try to explain to you what I did. Anyway, so first I used my Cool Gray 9 for the lighter shade of the black, and I'm just letting that dry a little bit. And then I'm going to go in with my Warm Gray 8 as my mid-tone along the lines. And then after that, I will use my black as my darkest shade. And then, of course, I'm going to use my white colored pencil as the highlights. And I decided I wasn't going to use my white gel pen like I did on some of the blue because I feel like it would just pop out too much on the black. So I didn't want that to happen, but yeah. So anyway, let's go in with our mid-tone now. And again, I'm just going to do upward strokes along the lines, about halfway. And then I'm going to let that dry before I go in with my darkest color. So the reason why I decided to draw Dutton looking like a little artist is because I wanted to combine two things that I love, and one being my dog, and two, I just love doing art. So that would be cute to mix the two together. And then I'll do the embroidery lines along this once I'm done with coloring in his tummy. Hopefully, as I add more of the color, especially the paint splatters, hopefully it won't blend too much, but I don't know. They also have to color his ears in, and those are pretty black too. I'm just going to try to go a little lighter with that, maybe leave out the middle, leave out the darkest black and just use the two lighter ones. I don't know, and then add maybe some more white highlights. While that dries, I'm going to actually use this for his eyes, and I'm just going to do just this color. I'm not going to try to blend. That would make it a lot harder and make it blend too much. You can kind of see it. I don't know. I hope as it dries a little more, maybe it'll show up better, but no. I'm trying really hard to just trust the process. Okay, now I'm going to paint this part orange. And as that one dries, I'm going to make this one purple. And then this one I want red. Okay, and then I think I'm just going to use a mix of my colored pencil and my gel pen. Okay, now to try to fix these eyes. Oh, I almost forgot this. Just kidding. Oh my gosh. I was hoping I was done because my hand is killing me. Okay, I don't know. Okay, let's try these eyes again, shall we? Oh gosh, that looks not good. Okay, well, it's not perfect, but I don't think it's too awfully bad either. All right, and now I'm just going to erase my pencil lines. Okay, that's good enough. Let's just cut them out. Alrighty. Gotta try to find that page. There it is. Okay. Ooh. Cutting it really close. Goodness, I might have to cut this off a little bit. Okay. Okay, so for on this page, I thought it would be cute to create an art easel, and then I'll have like paw prints kind of like painted all over it. The paw prints are going to be pretty small, but I think it'll turn out cute, so let's try that now. So I already have my sketch drawn up, so now I'm going to do the same thing with my roller and create the lines. Now to choose my colors. So for the canvas, I'm just going to try to kind of make it look white as well. And of course, I don't have actual white markers, so I'm just going to use this really light blue-gray and then my gel pen and try to get that look. These paw prints definitely don't look perfect, but that's okay. I mean, I guess that's the good thing about me trying to make a painted look, is it wouldn't look perfect anyway if a dog were to be painting, right? Again, the hardest part is like how much the alcohol markers bleed, but luckily this is a pretty light color, so I think it should be fine. I'll be able to cover it up and add the details of all the colors for the paint. Now to just use my white gel pen. First I'm just going to do a bunch of lighter spread out streaks. I would say that this is like fun trying this because I've never done it before, but it's also very tedious. I don't know, it's like a mix between relaxing and tedious. And now I'm just going to let the gel pen dry a little bit, and then I will go over the bottom with more gel pen to give the darker appearance. That's a little harsh on the eyes, but once I start throwing on the color, it'll look a lot better, be a little less harsh. Okay, and while that dries, I'm going to go in with my first color. And I am going to use blue as one of them, just so it does kind of make this background look a little less blue and hopefully a little more white than it's looking right now. I think I'm going to do this one right here. The white highlight pen is showing through. Oh no. Uh-oh. No, we're just going to keep hoping for the best and let that dry. Okay, I think I'm ready to go over everything with my black fine liner now, so let's do that and hopefully it all comes together. Okay, and now to add a few little squigglies. Okay, now let's get it cut out. Okay, now to get this glued into the book. Maybe it'll be cute if I draw like a little yarn connecting to this. So let's do that now. All right, and now I'm just going to quickly cut it out and glue it into the book and draw the needle and yarn, and then I can show you the finished piece. All right, here it is. So it definitely took a lot longer than I thought it was going to, but I think it was worth it. I think it turned out really cute, and if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and I hope to see you next time.